We have more now on some breaking news from Canada's ombudsperson for responsible enterprise and her probe into two companies, Nike Canada, and Dynasty Gold Corporation, to see if they've done business with companies in China accused of using forced labor of a minority group, the Uyghurs. Jeannie Lee is here now with more. So, Jeannie, what are the allegations?
Well, Hillary, the allegations are that the companies have ties to Chinese companies that actually were identified by an Australian think tank as forcing Uyghurs into labor or somehow benefiting from forced labor of this minority group. Now, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute was the one that issued this report 3 years ago, and a group of about 28 civil rights groups, so a coalition of those groups, maintains that this is still going on and complained to the Ombudsman for responsible enterprises. And here's what she had to say in deciding that, yes, there's enough here that warrants further investigation. Have a listen.
Canadians have strong values when it comes to respecting human rights. And Canada's Responsible Business Abroad strategy is clear. Canadian companies are expected to respect Canadian standards for human rights and environmental protection when they work outside of Canada.
So the question is, did these companies, Nike Canada and Dynasty Gold, go far enough to make sure that there is no forced labor in any part of their supply chains, or otherwise eliminate any kind of forced labor that may have been found in their operations? So she says that once the facts are in, she will then write up a final report and make her recommendations. And of course, again, this is all based on that initial report from an Australian think tank that found 80,000 Uyghurs, maybe even more, work in Chinese factories, some forced directly from detainment camps, obviously in Xinjiang, which is where 2 million Uyghurs are detained.
Jeannie, how have the two companies responded?
Well, they were both invited to meet with the Ombudsman, but did not. So she obviously has questions. For example, in the case of Dynasty Gold, there's a mine in northwest Xinjiang where Uyghurs are detained, as I said, and have a look at a statement from CBC that was sent to CBC News by the CEO of Dynasty Gold. Ivy Chong says, "We do not understand on what evidence and basis that CORE, which is the Canadian Ombudsman for Responsible Enterprise, conducts its investigation. The wages that we pay to local workers were almost double local wages, and everyone was happy working for us." That's her stance. And as for Nike, the question is if its suppliers include 6 companies that have been identified as using Uyghur labor, forced labor. Nike has denied this and sent this statement earlier this year. "We are concerned about reports of forced labor. Nike does not source products from the XUAR, which stands for the Xinjiang Uyghur Administrative Autonomous Region, and we have confirmed that our contract suppliers that they are not using textiles or spun yarn from the region." But the Ombudsman obviously thinks there's more to this, and it also has the mandate, don't forget, to hold Canadian companies accountable for human rights violations if they're operating overseas. So she's investigating. She can encourage a resolution here, offer mediation through any step of this process. So applying a little pressure here for more answers, essentially.